In today's episode, Anonymous asks, in B2B, how do I track a lead from paid ad to conversion? So, quick note about the Anonymous thing. We have a form over on the Trust Insights website. It's called Ask a Silly Question. And it's intended to ask questions that you might not feel comfortable asking, sticking your name next to it. Some of those things of like, I probably should know this, but I don't. So this is one of those questions. The answer to this question is fairly straightforward. It requires two things: great Google Analytics setup and Google Analytics tagging. When you do both properly, you can measure up to the point of a form fill and possibly a little bit afterwards in any B2B or B2C marketing setup. So the way it typically works is you would make sure that you have goals and goal values set up in Google Analytics that are set to whatever your conversion is, like downloading a white paper or requesting a demo or filling out the contact us form. Those goals would be things you would track in Google Analytics and would be indicators that somebody crossed the line, the finish line, and did the thing that you wanted them to do. On the paid ad side, you would use Google's UTM tracking codes. Stands for Urchin Tag Manager, from way, way, way back in the day, 15 years ago when Google bought Urchin Analytics. And turned it into Google Analytics. So those UTM tracking codes, you would indicate the source, the medium, and the campaign, and possibly some other details in order to be able to assign where traffic came from that converted. So in any standard paid ad, you would make the UTM source whatever the network is, like Facebook or Google Ads or Bing Ads or whatever. The medium would almost certainly be CPC for paid search, paid social for paid social, display, CPV or CPA for cost per acquisition or cost per view for display advertising. And then the campaign would be whatever the campaign name is, White Paper 2020 or whatever it is you're doing. Those two things combined allow you to see leads that you've acquired from your paid ads and assess the performance of those ads. If you have goal values set up in Google Analytics, it'll even give you then the estimated inferred revenue for what those conversions are generating. Now, the one thing Google Analytics does not do out of the box, and if it's something you need, is track personally identifiable information. In fact, it's explicitly disallowed in the terms of service. So if you want to track an individual person from a paid ad to a conversion, you will have to use at least a CRM that integrates with Google Analytics and potentially a marketing automation system, something like Pardot or Marketo or Eloqua, or Eloqua's Oracle Marketing Cloud now, Mautic, HubSpot. Any of the major marketing automation software packages can integrate with Google Analytics and allow you to track an individual person from wherever they came from, like a paid ad, to into your CRM, and then potentially even whether that business closes or not, to be able to understand the performance of an ad at a revenue level. That requires a lot more setup. That requires extensive integration and proper configuration of all of the tools. So if you need data in the aggregate, like how well are my Facebook ads doing, or how well are my LinkedIn ads doing, Google Analytics and Google UTM tracking codes are the way to go, and it's very straightforward. If you need the individually identifiable information, it requires a lot more setup, from Google Analytics and the UTM tracking codes to marketing automation to CRM. Now, the next question you need to ask is, what are you going to do with that information? Tracking leads is great, and it's important, and we should definitely do it, but the bigger question is, what decisions will you make from that information? Will you change your ads? If you find some ads are less effective than others, that's an important decision to be able to make. Do we need to change the messaging? Are we on the right networks? Are we in the right place where people are? Do we have the right audience? Do we have the right offer? Generally speaking, when it comes to ads and tracking and decisions, there's going to be 3 decisions you're going to make. And this references Bob Stone's 1968 direct marketing framework. He used to say, list, offer, creative in that order. Do you have the right list, meaning your audience? Do you have the right offer? And do you have the right creative? When it comes to paid ads, same exact thing applies. Are you advertising to the right people? Google Analytics can give you some of that information, but the paid ad system you're using probably will give you more of that information. But it's certainly, if you're just going broad with advertising, you will not get great performance. Advertising today works much better with a very specific audience in mind. So make sure that when you're setting up your tracking codes, you're tracking which list or which audience you're going after. If you've got the right people, then the next step is, do you have the right offer? Do you have an offer that's compelling to those people? And that's something that, again, Google Analytics will not tell you that. In fact, nothing will tell you that except something like a focus group or a survey of your target audience to say, hey, if you need analytics consulting, what kind do you need in getting information from your audience that way? And then the last, of course, is the creative. Do you have the right images and copy and all those things? One of the things that people do wrong with this type of tracking is that, well, 2 things. One, they don't make decisions at all. And 2, if they do, it's usually on the creative side and not looking at the list and the offer side. Bob Stone's framework clearly says, make sure you're advertising to the right people first, because if you're not, nothing else matters. You can have the best offer, you can have the most beautiful creative, and if you're targeting the wrong audience, nothing matters. So address your testing based on your analytics from that perspective. List first, then audience, then creative. So, to sum up, if you only care about conversion to like a form, Google Analytics and Google Analytics UTM tracking are the way to go. Set it up properly, and you'll be able to track everything that you need from the source of your traffic to the thing that they did. If you need identifiable information, you'll need to integrate your marketing automation and CRM system. And if you're going to make great decisions, make sure that you spend some time learning how UTM tracking codes work. In fact, you can search this on my YouTube channel and find other videos on UTM tracking codes best practices. But make sure that you're using them well, because if you don't, the data gets messed up, and unfortunately, you can never go back and fix it in Google Analytics. So, Anonymous, hopefully this answers your question. If you have further questions, please leave them in the comments box below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.